What it is, good people, it's the man in black. It is Badwolf Unincorporated, bringing you guys more fire ass information. Let's get into it. So, mm, so many things going on in this LARPing nation, live action role play, where they're playing out all of the entertainment events to keep you guys all distracted. Oh, well, we're not going to get into all of it, especially on this channel, but I am going to jump into this one piece. Now, I've heard and seen now where ICE in various cities are going up to people who they suspect might not be U.S. citizens slash nationals. And in one particular video, the guy was like, well, show me that you're a U.S. citizen. Well, first of all, it's like, bro, you show me that you're a U.S. citizen. Like, you're not my boss. You don't control me. You're not my owner. However, they are an extension of the government, so they have a right to do certain things, we'll just say. But it's gray area in a lot of what they're doing, okay? And I've never seen anything where, okay, so let me see if I can say this correctly. In the things that I've read, if a person is suspected of being illegal, the police really are not supposed to do anything, but ICE and those agencies are. But I've never seen anything where it gives ICE the power to bother, especially not nationals, which most people don't know that they are. So we'll just leave that over to the side for right now. But even and U.S. citizens are somewhat subject to being somewhat bothered, to be ascertained, to determine if, in fact, they are actually U.S. citizens within a reasonable amount of time by said agencies, if suspected of being illegals. Now, Supreme Court has ruled what law enforcement can do to a certain degree, and this is generally for 14th Amendment U.S. citizens. I may not have read enough to know fully all the ins and outs of it. So we're not gonna go into all of it and debate that. But what I'm gonna show you and talk about here, let's just jump into the article and you'll see why it made it to my channel, or this topic made it to the forefront of my medulla oblongata. So immigration officers around Minneapolis are approaching people and demanding proof that they're U.S. citizens. Now, how do you instantly prove that you're a U.S. citizen? I mean, nobody walks around with their birth certificate. A driver's license is not proof of U.S. citizenship or naturalization. It's a product of the states. So it can help towards that, but it itself is not intrinsically actual proof. But guess what is? This man is holding his passport. The subcaption here says a person shows his passport card as he waits in line in a cafe in December in Minneapolis. Shot goes out to the Washington Post and the G images. So he's using something that he can carry around that we've talked about here that I told you guys supersedes the driver's license, even with their little star on there. And now you see when shit hits the fan, the passport card and the book are the man. It says here, now we're not going to go into the whole article, but basically it says that they've turned into stopping U.S. citizens at random demanding identification. Well, this is a violation of our rights. They cannot just stop citizens demanding identification. They can stop individuals who they believe aren't U.S. citizens and are in fact illegals, but they are supposed to have some type of reasonable articulate suspicion that those individuals are in fact illegals. So what they're doing right now is a might makes right approach, which is very dangerous and is a violation of constitutional rights. Right to travel, right to unlawful stops, searches, and seizures. These are all lawsuits that the government will have to absorb, which then falls back on we the people. Now, they don't go into talking anything more about the passport, really, from what I've seen. Right here, they talk about the Fourth Amendment also protects individuals from unlawful searches and seizures. The government is supposed to operate on the lawful side. So, in fact, what they're doing to those people are unlawful searches and seizures. David Schultz, an attorney and legal studies professor, much like, well, not like myself, but also we agree on this. U.S. citizens do not have to provide identification to prove their citizenship when out walking or standing in the street or in the public. But in the moment, is it probably best and safe to carry your passport, book, or card on you? Absolutely. When we first started talking about this stuff years ago, people said, well, when will we ever need the passport, book, or card? I said, well, you can use it for your daily stuff or not. But always told people, I said, if shit ever hits the fan, well, guess what? The shit is on the fan right now and it's being slung. My biggest thing at this point in time, if you guys want to ask me semi-personal thoughts on it, is if they have records. See, they have records of people who've come here and have overstayed. How do I know that? I had a friend from Canada come down. Awesome girl. It's actually two friends, and one went back and the other one stayed. Well, she got a letter, I don't know, sometime later on, and they're like, hey, you've stayed this long and blah, blah, blah. They told her you need to go, otherwise we may have to catch you and deport you. Those are the people that they should be going after. And if they on the way find anybody who's not supposed to be here or who's here illegally. But then there's a gray area because maybe some of these people are trying to naturalize, but the government wants them to naturalize through them, not without them. Now, there in itself is a place where people really need to sit down and look at the laws to see what is superior in that moment. Your right to fully naturalize without the government, or does the government have 100% full intrinsic value over those events? Because if they do, Then anybody here illegally, that then you have to get in line and do it the right way. But if not, then they're trying to basically do something that they have a right to do to a certain degree. Now, if they weren't, if they were doing their job at the borders and whatever else, people they should have a list of people who've come here illegal, plane flights and all that other stuff. How long are you going to be here? Do you have a visa? We need records of that. And then those are the only people that they should be bothering. Anybody else who's, slipped through the cracks or was already, whatever, if they should be going not door to door just bothering good people. They should be going after people that they have on the list who said, I'm only going to be here for a little while, not the people who are trying to stay. And if they're like, okay, if you're trying to stay, then you need to fill out this paperwork. And sorry if I hurt people's feelings, but I really then don't believe that people who are here illegally should just be getting benefits and privileges, grants, and special big loans and or being put up in hotels because no other place in the country would do that if they had an influx of us Americans. And as somebody who's a business owner and has tried to get big loans and grants, and I didn't qualify for almost anything, even as somebody of color, being male, almost nothing. I didn't say I didn't qualify for anything, but maybe I should open my own Leering Center in Minneapolis and have a take up a whole floor and have empty ass rooms where people don't even know how to do their alleged jobs, and there's no kids in the Leering Center daycare center and be able to make $1 million a year with all these checks when nobody's coming for some reason. And as somebody who owned a daycare, I absolutely know that there are inspectors who are supposed to come and make sure that people are there, and they're supposed to come unannounced. So to me, it sounds like some kind of scamopoly or conopoly. They're like, hey, yeah, we know that this is bullshit. See, at least when I had my place, each kid had their name, their parents' name, socials, and things of that nature. And the moment one kid wasn't there, for a certain amount of time, that family got knocked off of the list for help and had to reapply. So how is it that they're just getting a blanket check for all this? I'm not an investigator or anything like that, but shot goes out to the what was his name? Whatever the kid's name who discovered the whole fraud, Scott or Nick something or whatever else it is. Anyway, so to get back to it, do I think it's a good idea that you guys carry around your passport, book, or card, or keep it locked in your car? Yeah, depending on what area you're in, you may not necessarily want to have all that out there for somebody just to steal. Though generally, most people are just trying to get credit cards and cash, not so much your passport identification. But if you're in those areas or near those areas, it might be worth your while to have that just to make your daily life a little bit easier. As always, guys, do your best. Be safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Love each other. I'll talk to you later. Hit that like and bell and subscribe on the way out. I'll take care of the rest.